What is that thing you're doing?
It's technical. It's when we're a little tired. Something is different.
Good friend.
Anything different is good.
Go ahead. Your bus is leaving.
Backhouse man. I'm a scientist.
What's always a question of good? You only think about the bad.
I just have a feeling that something is wrong.
Good things do happen.
Make it Centauri time.
Hello and welcome to Groundhog Jungle. I get to do the intro today, and today we are reviewing The Razor's Edge. Hi, I'm Matthew Fleming.
And I'm Alex Hillman. I'm jealous. That was really good.
It was a nice smooth.
Yeah.
No, I think we,
That was.
I was a little bit scared during it.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I gave, just to clarify, I made Matt do the intro this time, and I gave him a rough outline just before.
It was horrible. He unzipped his flies. He said, "You must do." No, he didn't. No.
It's like you had an imaginary sort of countdown timer timing you in, and you were suddenly broadcasting the King's speech.
When I was
to
younger,
many Allied.
I used to watch
troops.
Countdown and think, what a bloody waste of half a clock. Just put half of it up there. You don't. The
Yeah.
other half is not being used.
The other half must get really dusty.
That's probably someone's job.
Yeah.
Oh,
What,
dust
to clean the half of a
Dust the
clock?
left half of the clock. Oh, but I've just done the desks and stuff. Well, you know, it's a Friday. Oh, okay.
Is it a prerequisite in Countdown for the person who does the maths to be relatively glamorous and get better looking with age, and for the person behind the desk to act like a middle manager from Norwich who's flirting with the company secretary? Is that a prerequisite?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, Carol Vorderman, you look at old Carol Vorderman videos,
Yeah.
she definitely gets younger as she gets older. It's really odd.
Yeah, I know, it's weird. I
And
don't know
then
how
the
she's
other
doing
one,
it.
Rachel Riley. I mean, everyone likes Rachel Riley.
Yeah, everyone does, yeah.
Yeah. So,
So,
The Razor's Edge.
The
Now, I've
Razor's
been
Edge.
looking forward to this for all the wrong reasons.
Yes, because it's, well, should we just reveal this now?
So, The Razor's Edge is probably the most shambolic film I've ever seen. It's sadly shambolic. I mean, there's nothing right about it.
No.
Just to put it into context, The Razor's Edge is an adaptation. God, I actually rated it 3 out of 10. You gave it 2 out of 10. There's our
that's
scores,
generous.
by the way. We didn't give the scores for the
Oh,
last
then
one.
the scores for the last one, yeah, no.
Yeah, that
8
was
and
8 and 8.5, making 8.25, but that was Nothing Lasts Forever. This is Nothing Lasts Like a... this is shit.
Yes, so the other one was Nothing Lasts Forever. This is... I don't know, I was trying to think of a
it's
pun on
dreadful.
Nothing Lasts
Yeah,
Forever.
it's difficult, isn't it? Especially when you're put under pressure. So, basically, the story is this. Bill Murray, when in the delivery room waiting for his child to be born...
I want to say Hunter.
Hunter, possibly.
It
That
might
would
have been
sort
Hunter.
of make sense, wouldn't
Who
it?
pops
given
up in
his-
a Bill Murray film, but
Yeah.
we'll get to that.
So he was reading The Razor's Edge by is it W. Somerset Maughn?
Somerset, yeah.
Who is a British writer and did a story about a war hero who comes back trying to get back into the real world and all the romances therein. But
Yeah.
the plot is not important about this film. All you need to know is this is the film that Bill Murray wanted to do in order to become a serious actor. Now, he would become a serious actor, and we love Bill Murray, and he's been serious brilliantly in some many wonderful films. However, the time was not right. This is not a good film. This
No.
is an awful film. This is truly shambolic, and there is not one aspect of this film that works.
Yeah.
There are films we've rated lower, or I have anyway, but unfortunately, nothing works in this film.
Talking of The Razor's Edge, which is the name of your barber,
Yes, they're very good.
you'll look in the mirror sometimes and you'll be shaving and you'll think, I'm all done. And then you'll go out and your partner or someone else will say, but what about this massive patch of your face? And even though you were right in front of the mirror, you just didn't see it. That's what the production of this film was like. People
Yes.
were on this film and just did not know how badly written it was, how badly edited, the acting as well from really good actors.
Yeah.
I
I mean, part of the problem, and it's all coming back to me as I read the review, our biggest reaction... Well, there's a good quote here from Matt. We're more than halfway through. He said that with genuine jubilation. Oh dear, that's the only response to have to a film like this. What follows is not a critical mauling, but really a dissection of what makes the film such a preposterous failure. It's the toughest film Matt and I have had to sit through. I've never sat through a film before where I have whiled away the hours until it ends, where I have genuinely wished for it to finish. I think I was counting down the minutes.
And something happened, I think, in the watching of it. Like, did we watch it via Apple? But, like, we could only watch it for, like, an hour period and then it timed out or something?
Yeah, something like that. And I remember at the end of each hour feeling relieved. And when I say each hour, I mean each hour.
Yes,
it's over 2 hours.
It's 2 hours, 8 minutes long.
Yeah.
Do you remember, so my wife was going for a driving lesson and we were about sort of an hour in. She came back after about an hour and she just assumed that we would have finished because it's a natural assumption.
Oh, yeah.
But no, we weren't. There was still a good quarter of an hour left to go. And it dragged. It really dragged. Can we explain the many reasons why this is bad? Let's have a reason each.
Okay. Well, okay. So we start off with the plot, which is really boring. We're talking about a World War I veteran, Larry Darrell, who's played by Bill Murray, and there is no plot. It's basically, we're supposed to care about him, but he comes off like a cunt. And it's really impossible to care for him. So that's my biggest problem. There's two problems there, actually. Plot, and I couldn't give a shit about the main person.
My problem with it is the terrible, terrible laboured exposition.
Oh, yeah.
There is a moment, I think, where someone says, we're heading for, is it the Great Depression or a big crash or something about the Wall Street crash?
Yeah.
It's awful. Someone at some point says something like, well, Gerald, you know you are my brother.
Yes.
It's so...
The exposition is bad. I mean, we're heading for a crash. There's not one person who needed that spelled out to them.
No.
We know roughly where the crash was.
Just show us a newspaper,
of
early 1929, and show someone counting their money. There's any number of ways to do it, but don't do it that way. As I get older and older, I get less and less tolerant of terrible exposition. The other day, I was shown a bit of Big Hero 6, which I've tried twice to watch. It may be brilliant. People say it's brilliant, but there's a bit where someone says, "Oh, go and tell Mum," and then the boy says, "I can't. She died 10 years ago. Remember?" You know.
Oh, I hate stuff like that.
It's so appalling. There are other ways of doing it.
Bill Murray is a talented actor, but he forgot he's a talented actor for this film.
Yeah.
Because in this film he can't act. You know, and I make the point.
Bill Murray. We love, of course, we love him. To say
We've
that.
spent the last 5 years of our
That
life.
shouldn't be
dedicated
news,
to him.
should it?
But we love Bill Murray, okay? But he cannot act in this film. He doesn't make any of the right choices. He makes You've got to remember that Larry Darrell is someone who's hard to sympathise with because there's aspects of him that are quite privileged. Okay, he's trying to get over the war. You feel like saying, "Oh, woe is me," because he goes off to India and he goes off to Paris, and you know he's going off to places like Paris because characters tell him, "Take yourself off to Paris," and then you see the Eiffel Tower.
And he just does. He's so easily led.
Yeah. And then they say India is a beautiful country. So it's off to India. But
when he wears
Paris,
a beret, he wears a beret.
So it's ridiculous. And as you say,
as he wears his Charles Aznavour T-shirt and eats his garlic and it's terrible.
So I make the point that it's overlong, badly acted, and about as much fun to watch as a PC World area manager remonstrating nervously with a courier who's delivered the wrong set of USB leads to his flagship branch.
And I love that sentence. It's great. It's not fun. There are other things as well that make it awful. I mean, we talked before about everyone loves Belushi, but when Belushi died, there was the speech that was it a speech that Bill Murray performed at his funeral?
You just reminded me of this.
Yeah, there's a speech that, so basically Brian Doyle Murray is in this. It's his second film, maybe, involved with Bill Murray, but maybe the first one he's acted in because he was involved in Caddyshack or something like that. And his character, sorry, this isn't really a spoiler because it happens in the first 20 minutes or something. And you won't want to watch this film, so it doesn't matter. But Brian Doyle Murray's character dies, and Bill Murray, when grieving for him, in the way that he over-hypes and eggs things when he's Peter Venkman, and it works because it's a comedy. He does the same stuff for the tragedy, and he says something like he was a despicable human being, and he was disgusting, which at a funeral for a comedian might work, but it does not work in the middle of a battlefield of World War I.
It just doesn't work. And so let me get this straight, because I'm not sure I may have realised this at one point and then forgot, but does he act, so he uses the speech that was given at John Belushi's funeral in this film? That's quite tasteless. But, I mean, it's sort of been forgotten, but that's not a good tribute, is it?
No.
The film is hopelessly misguided. It's a vanity project. It really is. It's got to be said. Bill Murray has basically cast himself in this film,
Yeah.
and he's not well cast. And
No.
I don't think it's a particularly good book in the first place. I have read some of it actually.
Have you?
Yeah, my dad has a copy of it. and
Yeah,
I've
I was
also-
going to read some of it, and maybe I still will.
Yeah, it's not very good. It's oddly dated.
Yeah.
And there's a really hilarious scene where someone dies at the end. And if you can imagine a character dying in the closest thing I can think of is have you seen Hot Fuzz?
Yes.
You know the scene where they go and see the Romeo and Juliet
Yeah, yeah.
with the guy from Shameless and Lucy Punch, is it, or something like that?
Yeah.
And they're acting, and she dies and goes bang and then dies hilariously. There's a character who dies in the end of the film, and that reminds me of that. It's like that awful cheesy kind of acting. It's funny in Hot Fuzz because it's done as a joke. In this film, it is not done as a joke, and there is too much that is not done as a joke that comes off like it's done as a joke. It is an appalling film.
Yeah, it really is, and it's an endurance feast. Feast.
Certainly not a feast.
No, it's not a feast.
There's not anything you're going to be enjoying.
It's got some good
consuming
actors
this
in
film.
it, hasn't it? It's
Yeah.
got. Is it Theresa Russell? I think.
She's right. I've got their names here. So
She was the one who's in Wild Things,
Yeah.
isn't she? Who
So-
in Wild Things is a bad actress, but that's only because that's how you have to act in Wild
Yeah.
Things, because it's that sort of film. In this, she's brilliant. She's the best thing about it, I think.
Theresa Russell plays Sophie MacDonald and Catherine Hicks plays Isabel Bradley, and I say that Hicks is adept at feeding off Murray's I can't give a shit acting and lights up the screen when she's on it. But this is MacDonald's film, as in Sophie MacDonald. Her
As in,
hang on, Theresa Russell. That might be a mistake in the review, actually.
We
never
don't make
mind.
mistakes in our reviews.
No. Her journey from doting mother to tragic prostitute to troubled love interest to Murray to corpse. It's a beautifully realised one.
A little bit of a spoiler there.
Her reaction when she realises... there's loads of spoilers here. But there's some brilliant reaction acting.
And she has a journey.
Yeah.
Bill Murray actually takes lots of journeys as his character and doesn't have a journey. He doesn't change, he doesn't evolve, he learns nothing. We care not a jot about him.
No.
it's
He's not
a shame.
likeable in this film at all.
Do you know who I would cast in this film?
Let me have a think. No.
Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
He would have been able to bring the gravitas to it. He was about the right age.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is a film that needs an actor's actor.
Yeah.
And I've got to be honest and say that just Bill Murray just didn't have the experience at this point.
No.
And this is a film for which you need a bit of training. You need a bit of acting skill. And Bill Murray's self-taught, obviously. And it really works later on in his career.
Yeah, and in so what year is this? 84?
Yeah.
So I think just 9 years later, he's making Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
I think he gives a brilliant nuanced performance in
Yeah.
Mad Dog and Glory. He's able then. If he
Yes.
could have brought some of that to this.
Yeah. But he's sort of our age in this film,
Yeah.
isn't he?
Yeah.
And
I don't know that I could do this role. Could you? It's hard. It requires a lot of...
I wouldn't want to, because the issue I've got with this film is that how are you supposed to relate or sympathise with a character who doesn't really do anything throughout the whole film?
No.
It's so difficult to pin your acting simply on what's going on in your head without anything real to shape it round. I think they've probably cut a lot of stuff out of the book that they could have put into the film.
Yeah.
Weirdly, because it's such a long film. Well, I say that, for drama it's not even that long, it just feels long.
Yeah, 2 hours 10 minutes. I mean, Titanic's like 3 hours,
3 hours
and
and
it doesn't
a
really
bit.
feel it because it's
No,
good.
but I mean, I suppose even that's well known as a long film. But you think of other dramas, I don't know, like off the top of my head, what's the war film with Christian Bale? Empire of the Sun.
Right, yeah.
That's that doesn't feel that long, although that's longer than this.
I'm going to say something. I'm not intentionally trying to get a laugh, but it is sort of funny. But I don't mean this in a harsh way. I have watched a 9-hour Holocaust documentary called Shoah, and this film felt longer. Right? It's a great documentary, by the way, but that's the point.
Is it all one film?
Yeah. It's really
Wow.
good. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how it was released. I think it was released in cinemas, and you would take half a day off work or take a day off work to go and see it.
Yeah. And you sat down and watched it?
I watched it. I didn't watch it all in one go. I did watch it in chunks.
Isn't
but the chunks were...
Nymphomaniac quite long? Isn't that in 2
Yeah,
bits?
I think that's 2 3-hour chunks. Yeah.
So 6 hours.
I think so. I might
And
be
it's
wrong.
Lars von Trier, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've always fancied watching that.
Yeah, I watched
Out of a perverse
half of
sort
part,
of interest,
part 1.
but
It's quite
got real
sad,
porn
actually.
stars in it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
Who isn't a real porn star. We just have to clarify in case his lawyers take us to task.
Does he get it out in it?
I don't think I saw him in. I think he might be more in the part.
He would have had to have sat down and watched that when he did his art installation.
Yeah,
wouldn't he?
but he watched them backwards, presumably.
So
he
that
watched
would
part
have been
2 first and then
one of the first. Oh, I see. Yeah,
which is odd.
Yes, unless you think of it as one film, like people say Kill Bill is, which I definitely don't.
No,
agree
it's
with.
not, is it? We I suppose we're sort of doing a Shia LaBeouf with this, but in the right order, and
Yes.
we weren't in any of these films.
No,
So it's not really the same
unfortunately.
thing.
Well, depending on your point of view, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't in this.
Some of our atoms might have been in this film.
Yeah,
Some of the films, not this film.
I don't even think Bill Murray's atoms were in this film. He's not.
His brain atoms certainly
Yeah,
weren't. Or his
and-
acting ones.
And it's a good decision, isn't it, to try to go to something different. But the thing is, he'd already done that with Where the Buffalo Roam. He had done that, and that's definitely better known than this, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
Well, this has got a website. This has got fans. People
know.
do like
Yes,
it, and they're
if you
wrong,
want-
aren't they?
if you
But
want- yeah, they are wrong. Yeah. If you want to check it out, I've actually got a link to the website here. The website is a means of communicating things online. And I don't have it to hand. But if you want to find the website, you can go on the internet and
That was
find our review, and you'll find my link to the website. This is weird.
you know, sometimes when you laugh, it sort of pinches your gut. That was one of those laughs. That was great. Yes.
Your testicle.
Yeah, I haven't ever had those sort of laughs. This is it's maybe there's a good film in there somewhere. Maybe there's a nugget of a good film. Maybe there's an idea of a film that works. It hasn't happened, sadly.
No.
I would have liked to have this to have been good, but sadly he is guilty of that actor's. He's becoming an actor here.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and when you become an actor, there you've got to choose well.
Yes.
And he chose himself for this, and he didn't choose well.
No.
I can't help thinking that if he was reading this in the delivery room, like there are stories of that happening. I mean, well, remember in the delivery room, were you in the right frame of mind to be making film script decisions?
I couldn't look at a book, let
No.
alone
If
make
someone was-
decisions on a film.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
It's crazy.
How do you focus on the narrative? How do you? Literally, he probably just picked up something from the hospital shop and went, "This will work." And just because you read it at the time your son was born or child was born, it doesn't make it good.
No, I know.
Although I was reading a Hillary Clinton biography, which was really good at the time Tobias was born, and I was also reading Bill Bryson's short history of nearly everything, and that was great.
Well, see, I suppose you could adapt both of those to sort of some sort of. You could, I don't know, a biopic and a documentary.
But you know what?
I was reading The Beano.
You know the reason I bought both of those because they were in the shop of the
Yeah.
hospital.
That's good.
So yeah, but you
I
know,
bought the
don't.
wrong type of formula. That was my first hospital purchase.
It's a quadratic equation.
Yeah.
So
I really tried to think of a reaction.
He made a mistake with this film. I wonder if he thinks it's a mistake. Maybe he's sort of proud of it. He did try something new. He should be praised for that.
He should be praised for trying something new. I also think it was very brave, and I think if you're gonna, come up with the idea of a film and you're powerful enough to do so, of course you're probably going to cast yourself in it. I mean, that does happen. I think you could have done with a bit of foresight, and I think there's a bit of naivety here, because who really wants this film other than him?
Well, he was doing it just to get go. He was
but he must have had Oscar in the back of his head.
maybe.
You know.
Wasn't he doing this to get? No, yeah. So he did this because I can't think of the right way to phrase it. He agreed to do Ghostbusters because of this film.
Yes.
Yeah, because it was a funding thing. That was his passion project.
And he's been able to do this, and that's great. And it just goes to show how powerful he was at this time.
Have you ever seen a passion project that was good? I'm thinking of sort of things like...
There's things I've enjoyed, but not because they're good, like The Room.
Yeah. I'm thinking of Daniel Craig, Flashbacks of a Fool, which I haven't seen all of, but apparently that was a similar thing. It was a passion project. He wanted to get it made for years and did. And obviously he was able to get it made due to the money and the status of Bond.
Trying to think of anything else.
But there are lots of passion
There are
projects
lots
that
of
don't
them.
seem to really...
They don't tend to take off, and I think they never really will, because...
Actually, I think Mark Wahlberg and The Fighter might be an exception, because I think he put a lot of effort into that.
But by definition, I think a lot of the time they're people that... they're projects that specific people are very passionate about, that therefore makes it quite niche.
Yeah.
If I was going to do a passion project, I'd probably do a film, I'd probably do a sitcom about Amdram. And as funny as I think that could be, I think the idea of a sitcom based around the Amdram world would be hilarious and would be really, really funny. I don't know how many people would want to watch it.
Yeah, but more people than would want to watch this. You stick it on BBC Three or something, it will get an audience.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Who wants to watch this? Unless it's directed by the right person. Unless
Yeah.
it's directed by Steve
thinking-
McQueen or
thinking
who's that guy that's big right now that did Whiplash, and is it Damien Chazelle or something? The guy who did La La Land as well. He's just directed that Neil Armstrong
You'd think
thing.
I would have seen La La Land, but I haven't.
Yeah, it's not good.
No, but a lot of people say it is, don't
Yeah,
they?
no, I know, but I wouldn't trust those people with a tea bag.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, though. You need someone who you can trust with this sort of film, and I think it was too ambitious, it was too vain, and it involved the wrong people, and so therefore remains a diabolical failure, and not one I'd recommend watching even on an ironic level. It's not a failure that's enjoyable. Sadly, it is just a failure. One I gave 3 out of 10, which seems generous now.
what did I give?
2. So that gives it an average of 2.5.
Which is elevating it above the Pisha films, but I think we'd definitely rather watch both Pisha films put together than watch this again.
Yes, but I guess at least with
merit,
this,
isn't it? Yeah,
it's noble. Pisha isn't fucking noble.
No.
Pisha is about as noble as a king's turd.
Yeah, that's true. This is just poorly judged, and tonally, it's a misfire, isn't it? A lot more than Pisha. Pisha is misfiring on 2 different tones. This is misfiring all over the place.
Yeah.
It can't get anything right.
So yeah, a noble failure, but a failure.
Yeah, don't watch it.
No, it's not very good. Next week, so this is the sort of the end of this little pair of podcasts. Next week we'll be looking at a couple of films that I'm very much looking forward to talking about. The first one will be a musical, our first musical.
Yeah, our first musical.
Little Shop of Horrors. And what's the second one?
It's not Ghostbusters 2, is it? No, it's Scrooged.
Is it?
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's Scrooged.
Okay, I'm hoping it is, because I can't wait for that.
Yeah,
that'd be
that's
great
gonna be
fun.
good.
Great fun. Right,
Thank
we
you
will
for
see you
listening.
next time.
Bye.
Cheerio.
Bye.